This was really a report card of sorts, checking in on the over 25,000 kilometers of coastline we have here in BC. And not surprising, the biggest takeaway is that there is a critical threat to our coastal ecosystem. The driver for that really is climate change. As we just heard, in recent years, the waters just off of British Columbia's coastline have been running well above our 30-year average. And that is also changing ocean acidification, weather patterns, sea level rise, coastal erosion, not to mention the impacts from increased marine traffic, that noise pollution, bioplastics, small microplastics, and just general pollution, all changing the ecosystems of the marine species that live just off our coast. This was a highly comprehensive report. We looked at the socioeconomic impacts as well as cultural impacts, but biology was certainly a big one. And I want to show you some of the animals that really stood out for me on the report. Of course, the iconic killer whale that we've talked a lot about in recent weeks continues to face threats from chemicals, which researchers are really trying to pinpoint, suggesting that harbor seal might be an important tracking tool to find these contamination hotspots. Also, sea star species, this mysterious condition continues to ravage that species off the North American's west coast. And interesting that the rockfish also rated as critical, and new modeling suggests it may take over 90 years before there's a meaningful recovery to that species. And humans also included in that. There was mention of buildings in low-lying areas as our flood risk, I should say, continues to rise. So Dan, this report, again, incredibly comprehensive, taking data not only from the research from OceanWise, but from the 2016 census and from a wider range of scientific reports. So really one of the most comprehensive reports that we do have.
A lot of sources there, Joe. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. What are we doing well?
Yes, let's end on that note, because this study also analyzed how we're doing when it comes to stewardship and governance. And there are some big changes there in a positive direction. In the past couple of years, many marine waters have been declared protected. And rather than a top-down approach to stewardship and governance, there's been a lot more collaboration, which this report really highlighted, particularly when it comes to working with and using Indigenous people as leaders in this approach to stewardship. But I think the biggest takeaway is the information itself. Take a listen to the Vice President of OceanWise.
As a scientist that deals with ocean health and the state of the oceans and ocean pollution and ocean conservation, it's easy to be a little bit pessimistic today. But I've been working for 3 decades on issues of concern, and in my view, this report is very optimistic. It's very forward-looking. Why is that? Not because it says everything is perfect, but because it informs. It provides that foundational knowledge that Canadians can use in terms of decision-making, regulating, best practices, what you do at home, and how best to understand what's happening to our oceans.
He went on to say that this really should be the start of a conversation in this report, a baseline from which to make changes moving forward. And if you want to check it out on the OceanWise webpage, it is really well laid out and easy to understand, Dan.
Excellent. Joe, thanks so much.
You're welcome.